Lavrov of the Russian Federation. I'd like also to salute and welcome the distinguished honorable ministers and the representatives of the African Union and the Economic and Trade Committee, and also the representatives of other committees and heads of delegations, all protocol observed. At the outset, I'd like, on behalf of the government of Angola and the members of the delegation of Angola, to express our thanks and gratitude for the hospitality that we received in the Second Ministerial Conference on the Russia-Africa Partnership. It is a pleasure to have this conference in an African country in the city of Cairo. I'd like to state that in this great from this great platform, I'd like to note the partnerships that we have. We have bilateral and multilateral partnerships, including trade partnerships and political partnerships that are beneficial to all the African nations and that will advance the AU's 2063 agenda. This will also enable us to achieve the integration in the African continent. We are also seeking to advance and deepen our partnership with the Russian Federation. We believe that this is high time to continue our efforts and to take stock of the partnerships that we've had with the African nations and with Russia. And also, we would like also to look into the partnerships that we have and that we intend to conclude. We have a partnership going back to 2019 and that we operationalized in 2023. And I can say that our friend, Minister Lavrov, has explained the development of these partnerships and how to conclude even more partnerships. The Africa that we want requires that we forge more partnerships and that we have stability in different areas in order to be able to address the challenges of globalization. And on behalf of the President of Angola, João Lourenço, the President of the African Union, we state that we have always sought to reach peaceful solutions to the African problems and to develop the African institutions and the bilateral relations between African countries and the region. And also, we also seek to have to be well represented in the Security Council so that our decisions and our views in the Security Council in line with the CERT agreement, we seek to achieve integration in infrastructure, renewable energies, and many other areas. Therefore, we request the assistance of Russia in many projects in order to upgrade these partnerships that extend for the years 2026-2029 and beyond. With regards to the African continent, manufacturing is essential. only through manufacturing can we can we address the paradox of having a resource-rich continent that does not manufacture sufficiently. We have lots of raw materials and natural resources that are very important to the entire world. Therefore, we'd like to state in the final final communique or that we will sign today to expand the cooperation between Russia and the African continent, especially in the manufacturing of raw materials and the exploitation of minerals. We would like also to deepen our partnership, and we also need to reach more understanding in many areas and to guarantee sustainability of these partnerships. We need the Russian Federation and the African Union to operationalize their partnerships in all of these areas, especially in the priority areas that we have just mentioned. Allow me to clarify that the President of Angola, João Lourenço, has always stressed the peaceful resolution of African disputes and problems. We also need to work in the areas of science and training and to raise the human capacities. And on the other hand, we'd like to address all of these challenges with African hands. And we need to guarantee African ownership and to forge new partnerships and to exchange experiences and in the areas of agriculture and other areas. In this way, each African country will have its sovereignty and can enjoy its right of self-determination, and where the world would then view Africa differently, not like a country that only uses 50 or 60% of its natural resources and doesn't enjoy self-sufficiency, but to have full self-sufficiency. And in conclusion, I'd like to state that we have many partnerships between the African nations and the Russian Federation at many different levels. I thank the Honorable Minister Tipi Antonio for his remarks, and I call on Mr. Barry Viory, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Expatriates in Seychelles, to deliver his statements. He had requested to bring forward his speech because he has travel preoccupations. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Minister. Minister for Foreign Affairs, Immigration and Egyptian Expatriates of the Arab Republic of Egypt, His Excellency Dr. Badr Abdelati, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation, His Excellency Mr. Sergei Lavrov, Ministers, Secretary Generals, Deputy Ministers, Deputy Secretary Generals, Director Generals, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is a pleasure to address this Second Ministerial Conference of the Russia-Africa Partnership Forum. I extend my sincere appreciation to the government of the Arab Republic of Egypt for its warm hospitality and congratulate it for successfully hosting this important gathering. May I also express the profound satisfaction in visiting the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization last night, where we were mesmerized with the cultural show of the Egyptian and Russian art troops. Seychelles aligns itself fully with the joint statement to be adopted by the ministers, reaffirming our unwavering commitment to deepening the Russia-Africa partnership. This partnership is not merely diplomatic. It is historic, strategic, and profoundly meaningful. Today, our relationship is anchored in a shared determination to transform our economies, strengthen our resilience, and lay the foundations for sustainable development across our diverse national contexts. The forthcoming Russia-Africa Partnership Forum Action Plan for 2026-2029 presents a vital opportunity to craft an ambitious and balanced program that advances Africa's priorities and aspirations. Within this effort, we must recognize the unique vulnerabilities of African island states such as Seychelles, Cabo Verde, Madagascar, Mauritius, and the Comoros, among others. Our geographical isolation and environmental fragility demand tailored, innovative solutions that address our immediate challenges while enabling us to play a full and effective role in the broader partnership. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, for small island developing states, African nations, and much of the global South, the climate crisis is not an abstract future threat. It is already reshaping our realities, our coastlines, our livelihoods, and our hopes. Our collective response must be guided by three pillars: full operationalization of the Loss and Damage Fund, immediate activation of the Multidimensional Vulnerability Index, and a decisive shift from planning to implementation. The 2026-2029 Action Plan must reflect this urgency. It cannot be a document filled with lofty aspirations, but a time-bound and practical framework grounded in action, one that delivers targeted support for adaptation and resilience. We need partnerships defined by trust, by solidarity, and by a shared resolve to secure a safer and more resilient future for our peoples. Deepening Russia-Africa cooperation in ways that strengthen the climate resilience of island states will allow us to advance sustainable development, ocean stewardship, disaster preparedness, just transitions, and climate justice for the whole continent. We call on all partners to match our urgency with resources and cutting-edge technologies, translate our collective ambitions into tangible results. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, across Africa, millions still grapple with economic hardship, environmental pressure, and social uncertainty. The Russia-Africa Partnership must therefore place human development at its very heart. Real progress is measured by our ability to uplift our people, by alleviating poverty, preventing conflict, expanding opportunity, and nurturing innovation and entrepreneurship, especially among our youth. Trade and investment, tourism, renewable energy, agriculture, pharmaceuticals, and cultural exchange must continue to drive our cooperation. At the same time, we must safeguard Africa's natural wealth while unlocking the economic potential it holds. As we progress, we must acknowledge that technological acceleration is transforming human activity. Our strategic 3-year action plan should also focus intensively on the rapid maturation of artificial intelligence, opening up unprecedented opportunities. It is essential for the plan to promptly establish robust transnational regulatory frameworks that balance innovation with ethical oversight. On the global stage, Seychelles remains steadfast in its commitment to the respect of the rule of law. We reaffirm our support for the Essolwini Consensus and the Third Declaration as the sole legitimate articulation of Africa's position on the UN Security Council reform. Africa must secure full representation in both permanent and non-permanent categories to ensure a fairer, more credible global peace and security architecture. We trust that Russia will continue to stand with Africa in advancing this vital cause. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as we look forward toward the future and toward achieving the Africa we want, it is essential that our actions remain aligned with Agenda 2063 and the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. These frameworks embody our shared vision for a continent defined by strong partnerships, innovation, sustainability, and inclusive growth. I express my sincere gratitude for your commitment to our Russia-Africa partnership and for your dedication to the success of this conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Minister VIORY for these remarks. And I now call on Dr. Lamia Abdel Ghaffar, the Deputy of the Minister on Foreign Affairs of the Sudan, to give her remarks. You have the floor, Madam.
In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, Your Excellency Minister Badr Abdel Ati, the Foreign Minister of Egypt, Your Excellency Minister Sergei Lavrov, the Foreign Minister of Russia, foreign ministers in the African countries, heads of delegations, Your Excellencies, representatives of the international and regional organizations, ladies and gentlemen, peace be upon you all. It's an honor to kick off this introductory remark with sending and extending sincere thanks and appreciation to President Al-Fattah al-Sisi for hosting this important and significant event, and also to extend sincere thanks for Sudan to fulfill and meet this invitation to participate in this conference, and also to extend sincere thanks to Russia in Egypt for the robust organization for this event. Ladies and gentlemen, today's world is undergoing many tensions and polarizations that are acute, and this necessitates to coordinate, consult, and to develop the pillars of having a multilateral international regime that establishes the pillars of peace and security. And from this regard, we would like to hail the Russian pillars based on sovereignty and non-interference in the internal affairs and the efforts towards the mutual interests. And we would like to call for conducting comprehensive and generic reforms for the international regime, particularly the UN Security Council, with what would align with the equal availability of the opportunities according to the Charter of the United Nations. What many countries are adopting now of the double standards and committing crimes and violations would only lead to more cracking and conflicts. And here we would like to aspire for having this robust partnership, for having good relations that are constructive and that would contribute to the eradication of such phenomena, such as the trans-border crimes, in order to establish the pillars of peace, security, and stability. Ladies and gentlemen, the Russian-African partnership through the outcomes of the two summits and the meetings of 2023-2026, as well as the outcomes that are foreseen for this conference, would achieve a development that is going to achieve the African dream to establish the agenda of the African Union 2063. And in this regard, we would like to refer to the bilateral relations between Russia, Africa, and many countries, including Sudan, that witnesses the political will of both countries to develop the relations that would reach next year 70 years of constructive cooperation and mutual understanding and vision that is ready to be developed. And we would like to rely on the strategic relationships between us and Russia. And the first step for that is the signature of the protocol of cooperation between both countries in last September, as well as the robust stances of Russia that have supported Sudan during the crisis that is undergoing and witnessing now. Honorable attendees, Sudan is undergoing great challenges because of the militia of the rapid support that is committing many crimes, and this has led to having many homeless people committing war crimes, genocides, and this is because of targeting many ethnic parts and the crimes that have been committed in Al-Fashir city, and the consequences of that is an eyewitness for the crimes committed by this militia that has aimed at intervening and invading the city in order to destruct its establishments and to kill people. And this is now being shooted on the platforms, and this has incited the conscience, the humanitarian conscience all over the world. And this terrorist group should be held accountable for these crimes, as you all know. And the countries that are funding these groups and providing them with the political and media support to them, and now they have become a partner in all the crimes that they have committed towards the Sudanese citizen since the launch and the beginning of this rebellions in 2023, and hence holding accountable any regional or international organizations that has contributed to funding and providing the logistic support and providing the military equipments to these militia. And we would like to stress that the Sudanese government, from the perspective of its responsibility, is spreading peace, security, reassurance to the Sudanese people to have a peace that would preserve its sovereignty, dignity, and unity, and would achieve the aspirations of its people without any dictation from external organizations or countries. Ladies and gentlemen, honorable attendees, in conclusion, I do believe that the outcomes of this conference would contribute to the enhancement of the African-Russian partnership through constructive partnerships that are sustainable as well, and that rely on the deep pillars of enhancing these relations between these countries. And hence, I would like to reiterate my sincere thanks extended to Egypt and Russia for organizing this conference, and thank you so much for your attentive listening.
Уважаемые коллеги, разрешите сейчас предоставить диаспору за рубежом и по африканским делам Алжирской Народно-Демократической.
Allow us to listen to His Excellency Minister Ahmed Atif from Algeria. We would like to thank the Egyptian and the Russian parties for organizing this conference. We are meeting today in order to develop or to put a new building block in this relationship between Russia and Africa, this partnership that we are so proud of. And we are so proud of its great history, and we are also so proud of its unique present, and we are aspiring for exploring its horizons in the future that are so promising for us. And also, in this regard, I would like to reiterate Algeria's commitment to contribute to the amplification of the priorities that have formed and are still forming the core and the heart of this partnership that have to do with the priorities that would give it this appearance that would align with the Africa's Agenda 2063 in its different implications and dimensions, be it at the political or the security levels, as well as the economic and social ones. So, from the political perspective, we would like to underscore the importance of the African-Russian convergence in contributing to the completion of the decolonization process, particularly on the African continent. Algeria, which earlier this month hosted an international conference devoted to the unequivocal legal criminalization of colonialism, strongly supports the establishment of an international day to combat this abhorrent phenomenon, which has no place neither in today's world nor in that of tomorrow. From a security perspective, secondly, we do welcome the renewed African-Russian commitment to the principle of African solutions to African problems at a time when terror threats are escalating and exacerbating across the continent alongside the proliferation of hotspots of tension, instability and conflict. So in addressing these challenges, our partnership must prioritize the strengthening of national capacities, the rejection of external interferences, and the promotion of political approaches and peaceful solutions. And from the economic perspective, thirdly, we welcome the growth in trade exchange between Africa and Russia. And as we are approaching the 2030 horizon, we believe it is essential to focus more closely on enabling the African countries to overcome its delay in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, and also to work all together to ensure that our continent does not fall behind in the ongoing revolutions in digitalization, robotics, nanotechnology, artificial intelligence, and renewable energy. Fourth, and finally, and from the side of the institutional comprehensive governance, Algeria hails the Russian-African understanding to have a better representation that would be fair for Africa in the Security Council and to represent the African continent within the framework of the banking and financial institutions as well as the trade one internationally. Building on these strategic convergences and in a world marked by an erosion of values and an imbalance of power and the weakening of norms and rules, Algeria deeply believes that the African-Russian partnership has accumulated a level of maturity that would qualify it for forming a main source for building an international system that is fair and more just, that is based on the international law as an impartial arbiter before which all nations stand equal, that is based on the approach of the multilateralism that would never leave or exclude any country or nation, and this system would elevate the role of our United Nations and that would resolve the disputes and to unify the efforts and endeavors for the sake of achieving peace, security and prosperity for all the nations without any exception, without any selection and without any discrimination. And thank you.
Большое спасибо. Сейчас разрешите предоставить слово министру международных.
I now give the floor to the Minister of International Relations from the Republic of Botswana.
Thank you very much. Our co-hosts, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Immigration and Egyptian Expatriates of the Arab Republic of Egypt, Your Excellency Abdelati, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation, Sergei Lavrov, AU Executive Council Chairperson, Ambassador Tete Antonio, colleagues, honorable ministers of foreign affairs and heads of delegations, good afternoon. I'm truly honored to address you today at this Second Ministerial Conference of the Russian-Africa Partnership Forum. This gathering represents a vital opportunity for us to strengthen the bonds between our continent and Russia, as well as chart a path for future cooperation. At the outset, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our gracious hosts, the government and the people of Egypt, for their warm hospitality. The welcoming spirit and rich cultural heritage of this magnificent country provides a fitting backdrop for our discussions today. We appreciate the effort that has gone into organizing this forum, which reflects our collective commitment to fostering dialogue and partnership. As we convene here, we start at a pivotal moment in history, a time characterized by both extraordinary challenges and remarkable opportunities. The global landscape is rapidly evolving, and it is imperative that we harness our collective wisdom and resources to navigate these changes effectively. This gathering highlights our shared commitment to advancing the collaborative efforts between Russia and African nations, paving the way for a sustainable development, mutually beneficial partnerships. I wish to commend the notable achievements realized through previous Africa-Russia partnership forums, which have significantly contributed to strengthening political dialogue, deepening mutual understanding, and advancing practical cooperation between Russia and African countries. These forums have provided an important platform for aligning priorities and fostering partnerships grounded in mutual respect and shared interests. I also wish to express my sincere appreciation to the opportunity to exchange views with Your Excellency Minister Lavrov on Botswana-Russia bilateral relations, an engagement that reflects our shared commitment to constructive dialogue and enhanced cooperation. As we navigate the complexities of an increasingly interconnected and rapidly changing global space, it is imperative that we prioritize cooperation across a wide range of sectors, including trade, investment, technology, and cultural exchange. Botswana recognizes the critical role that strategic partnerships play in addressing the multifaceted challenges facing our continent, from economic transformation and development to peace and security. By working together, we can harness our collective strengths to promote stability, resilience, and shared prosperity. The economic relationship between Russia and Africa holds immense and largely untapped potential. Botswana in particular is keen to strengthen trade relations and explore expanded cooperation in key sectors such as mining, agriculture, and renewable energy. These areas offer meaningful opportunities for value addition, technological transfer, and skills development. We have an opportunity to establish robust frameworks that support sustainable economic growth while ensuring that the benefits of cooperation are equitable and inclusive, contributing to long-term development outcomes for our people. On peace and security, Botswana remains firmly committed to promoting stability on the African continent. Our shared experiences in conflict resolution, peacekeeping, and preventative diplomacy provides a solid foundation for deeper collaboration. We must continue to strengthen our commitment to diplomatic dialogue, multilateral cooperation, and collective action in addressing security challenges that affect our nations and the broader region, recognizing that peace is a prerequisite for sustainable development. Beyond economic collaboration, Botswana strongly supports the promotion of cultural exchange and knowledge sharing as essential components of lasting partnerships. Our people have much to learn from one another, and through sustained and meaningful dialogue, we can foster greater understanding, mutual respect, and people-to-people connections. Education, science, and technology represents areas where such exchanges can flourish, enhancing innovation, building human capital, and strengthening our collective capabilities. In conclusion, I wish to encourage all of us to seize this opportunity to build robust, forward-looking partnerships that transcend borders and foster resilience within our nations. Let us engage in constructive dialogue and identify practical and actionable commitments that will drive our cooperation forward. As we look ahead, I remain optimistic that the spirit of partnerships will guide our discussions and pave the way for a prosperous, peaceful, and sustainable future for both Russia and Africa. I thank you for your kind attention.
Большое спасибо. Сейчас Позвольте предоставить слово министру.
Thank you very much, and I will give the floor now to the Foreign Minister of Burundi.
Excellences, Monsieur le ministre des Affaires étrangères, de l'immigration et des expatriés.
Your Excellency, the Foreign Minister of Egypt, Your Excellency, the Foreign Minister of the Russian Federation, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished Ministers of Foreign Affairs, all protocol observed. I'd like at the outset to express my thanks and gratitude to the Arab Republic of Egypt for the great hospitality that we have seen since our arrival in Egypt. We'd like to express our commitment, our unwavering commitment to just and fair global order based on the respect of sovereignty and common or mutual respect and non-interference in internal affairs of nations. Ladies and gentlemen, Africa and the African peoples have many opportunities, and they can be strong partners. And they can be partners to the Russian Federation as well. Ladies and gentlemen, the Russian Federation was not a colonial country, but it has always been a supporter of liberation movements. And for Burundi and many other African countries that have embarked on the path of development, we are mainly focused on sustainable development, and we'd like to focus on the following key areas: agriculture, food security, where our partnership can have a crucial role in the exchange of modern technology to increase productivity and self-sufficiency. Second, energy and infrastructure. The projects of energy infrastructure and transport are crucial for integration on the African continent. The development of infrastructure is a prerequisite for the advancement of our continent. Third, training and raising human capital and skills, where we can launch programs to train new generations on the use of modern technologies. We can also benefit from the capabilities of the Russian Federation that offer many scholarships for African students. And also the fourth area is the regional peace and security, which are a prerequisite for development, and Russia can assist us in this endeavor because it understands the main requirements for peace in our countries. We commend the active role of Russia in the areas of security, and we are grateful for their assistance that they have given us in the areas of combating terrorism and organized crime and the policing of borders. We should continue to strengthen our capacities in the areas of security and prevention of interference in internal affairs. The nexus between development, peace, and security is a strong one, and we are witnessing many challenges that should attract our attention, and we should be committed to addressing. We should always work to establish a constructive and inclusive dialogue. The African continent has not yet benefited from its resources, which is regrettable, and we also must work to achieve peace and security, as conflicts hamper our attempts to make use of the natural resources with which our continent is rich. Many Africans do not have access to drinking water or food. Therefore, through the presidency of the African Union, Burundi will give priority to peace, security, and food security in particular, in order to guarantee the advancement of the continent. And I commend the role of the Russian Federation in assisting these endeavors. The power of the African nations can be unleashed and manifested through dialogue and through mutual interests. We should also prevent any sapping of our resources that would hinder the development of the continent. Our meeting is an opportunity to build a common future, and Burundi stands ready to fulfill its pledges and create a common vision of common interest for all our peoples. And we also should work to guarantee the well-being and prosperity of all nations while respecting the views of all. The outcomes of the Sochi meeting and the strategy for security and economic and political cooperation all work towards these ends. Therefore, I'd like also to praise the commitment of the countries participating in this second ministerial meeting of the Russia-Africa Partnership, and we hope that the results meet our aspirations. Thank you.
I would like to thank His Excellency, the Foreign Minister of Burundi, and allow me, as an exception, and because of very special conditions, to give the floor to His Excellency, the Foreign Minister of Mauritania. His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Salim Oued Marzouk, the Minister of the Foreign Affairs, and the expatriate Mauritanians. So the floor is yours, sir. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon Prophet Muhammad. Your Excellency, my dear friend, Dr. Badr Abdelati, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Egyptian expatriates in Egypt. Your Excellency, my dear friend Sergei Lavrov, the Minister of Russia. Your Excellency Titi Antonio, the Foreign Minister of Angola and the current President of the African Union. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, allow me at the beginning of my speech to extend sincere thanks and appreciation to the leadership and the population of Egypt for the warm hospitality and the generosity and the great organization. Those pillars would reflect the depth of the situation and stance of Egypt and how it is important in the joint African work, and that this would enhance the dialogue between Africa and its partners at the international level. Also, I would like to extend sincere thanks and appreciation to Russia for what it has shown and the commitment that it shows for enhancing its partnership with the African continent based on the principle of the mutual respect and putting into account the mutual interests and supporting the African countries towards achieving development. Ladies and gentlemen, honorable attendees, the organization of this Second Ministerial Conference of the Russia-Africa Partnership Forum comes at an international stage that is full of changes and transformations that would necessitate Africa and Russia to recall the history of partnerships in which Russia has provided many contributions towards supporting the African countries politically and economically. Add to that the sustainable coordination at the international level. And these relations have achieved a qualitative leap and a paradigm shift within the launch of the first edition of this conference in Sochi in 2019 by considering it as a framework that is organized for dialogue and partnership, and also the second summit that has been held in St. Petersburg, and the result of which has been the adoption of the action plan for the Russian African Forum 2023-2026 that we are working today on addressing its outcomes to pave the way for moving to the second action plan 2026-2029 that is scheduled to be adopted in the third summit that is going to be held based on what has been achieved during this first ministerial conference that has been held in Sochi. Ladies and gentlemen, the Russian-African relations would give a good and robust opportunity today towards establishing balanced and fruitful as well as constructive partnerships and relations that rely on the international active role that is being played by Russia because of its political, economic, and scientific situation. And also, we would like to hail the African representation here in this hall, and this shows that Africa pays so much attention because of what it owns of natural resources and humanitarian resources and economic potentials and promising trade opportunities that are amplified in the agenda of the African Union 2026 Africa that we want. And by the way, this partnership could achieve and safeguard the mutual interests to respect the national sovereignty and the non-interference in the internal affairs, and to enhance the international cooperation based on peace and justice in order to achieve prosperity on both levels, the international and the regional levels. And this collaboration and cooperation between both of us would stress on the importance of the political dialogues and consultations, and to respect the United Nations, the international law, and the resolutions that have resulted from the Security Council, as this would ensure just and fair representation of the African continent and would enable it to contribute to the decision-making that has to do with its peace and security, as well as its development, and that will pay attention to the international peace and security affairs. Also, Mauritania focuses and stresses on the importance of alleviating the tensions at the regional and international levels, and to enhance the peace resolution of the conflicts, and to adopt any approaches that would establish stability in Africa and in the whole world, with stressing on the principle of the African solution approach, and to achieve actively resolution of the Security Council number 2719 that has to do with funding the peace processes according to the African Union, and this would establish peace and stability in the continent. Ladies and gentlemen, within this framework, the African coast area because of what it witnesses of security and development, interlinked incidents because of its demographic and geographic location. So in Mauritania, under the presidency of our dear president, it's going to be committed to extend its efforts towards confronting terrorism, extremism, radicalism, and to link the efforts that have to do with peace and development and to enhance the regional dialogue because it deeply believes that the sustainable stability in the coast of Africa would never happen without addressing the root causes of these challenges and crises and to build robust national institutions and to enhance the social and economic opportunities. And Mauritania aims to strengthen this link between Africa and Russia and to support these efforts, be it through accumulating experiences and to support the pathways of development and stability in the region. Ladies and gentlemen, the economic and trade cooperation is the milestone towards deepening this partnership through encouraging and motivating investing in the fields of infrastructure, transport, digital transformation, transfer of technology, the development of industry, peace building, and building supply chains, and to enhance the technical trade exchange through our commitment in our governments. And also, the importance of this coordination at the international level aims at deepening and establishing an international trade multilateral system that is based on transparency and that would take into account the needs of the developing countries and the mutual and joint work towards adopting and developing financial mechanisms that would alleviate the debts from the countries that do have low and medium income, as this would, at the end of the day, support and enhance its capacity towards achieving sustainable development. And in conclusion, we would like to express our sincere hopes towards taking this conference towards wider horizons based on the mutual trust and the genuine vision and the actual work with what would serve the interests of our peoples and would achieve the efforts of peace and security in our regions and all over the world. And thank you so much for your attentive listening and wish this conference all the best. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, the Foreign Minister of Mauritania. And once again, I would like to remind the dear ministers and the heads of delegations that the lunch break would be at 3. Hence, we would like the speeches to be as brief and concise as possible. And now I'd like to give the floor to His Excellency Mohammed Mbai, the Foreign Minister of Comoros. The floor is yours, sir.
Excellence, Monsieur le Ministre des Affaires étrangères de la République arabe d'Égypte.
Your Excellency, the Foreign Minister of Egypt, Dr. Badr Abdelati, ladies and gentlemen, dear ministers, all protocols preserved. It's an honor and pleasure to participate in this Second Ministerial Conference for the Russia-Africa Partnership Forum that is being held for the first time here in an African country. Holding this conference has a special dimension because of the special role played by Africa and because of the efforts played also for the sake of diversifying the partnerships, particularly the geopolitical ones. And I would like to hail selecting Egypt as a host country for this conference, as it plays a pivotal role in the Arab world and a prominent role in these endeavors. And thank you for hosting this important conference. And on behalf of my delegation, I would like to extend sincere appreciation to Egypt and the Egyptian government for the warm hospitality and the generosity that we we have witnessed since we have landed here. Ladies and gentlemen, honorable ministers, the holding of this conference that has been initiated in the second summit in Sochi 2019 would stress the diversification of our relations and our mutual vision towards moving from strategic partnerships that are based on the mutual interests towards actions on the world and on the ground, particularly that we do have many disturbances in the supply chain and within these stresses on the emerging economies. So the cooperation between Russia and Africa is a strategic practical solution that would provide Africa with a clear opportunity for the diversification of the economic opportunities and to reach productive and fruitful investments and to enhance the local capacities. And ladies and gentlemen, the cooperation fields that we have determined and identified: energy, education, agriculture, training, digitalization, food security. All of them would meet the priorities and the needs of the African continent. And through this partnership, we can motivate the growth and to achieve the economic sovereignty of our country through supporting and enhancing the resources, manufacturing, and to be involved in the supply chains at the global level. Ladies and gentlemen, after holding the first meeting, we found that there are many projects that have been launched as a result of this conference, and this conference would also enable us to assess the actual impact of these projects and to expedite the implementation of these projects. And at the geopolitical level, the relationship between Africa and Russia would come within the perspective of this respecting the sovereignty of the countries and non-interference in the internal affairs. And this principle is the main base and pillar of achieving the sustainable development and would achieve the mutual interest. So countering terrorism and the transboundary crimes and the maritime security is also important, and the exchange of experiences and technology is important, and it's a necessity now. This is why Africa is or it tries to express its voice to defend for its legitimate rights and to achieve the economic governance at the global level. And this is why this partnership should contribute to the achievement of this strategic space. Ladies and gentlemen, within the time of these transformations of technology that is taking place on an accelerated pace. So it is important for us to make this forum an opportunity through which we can achieve results that are measurable. And this forum opens a new horizon for a cooperation that is more active, that is based on peace and mutual development. And thank you so much for your attentive listening. And may Allah's peace and blessings be upon you all.
شكرا جزيلا لمعالي وزير خارجية.
Thank you very much to the Foreign Minister of the Comoros, and I now give the floor to His Excellency Minister of Foreign Affairs and Francophonic Affairs and the Congolese expatriates in the Congo, Mr. Jean-Claude. The floor is yours, sir. Your Excellency, Mr. Badr Abdelati, Your Excellency, Mr. Sergei Lavrov, ladies and gentlemen, the first ministerial meeting of the forum of the Russia-Africa partnership that was held in Sochi has opened promising horizons and so to establish friendly relations of common interests between independent and free nations in order to limit the economic disparities between nations and to strengthen peace in the world based on the principle of equality of the inalienable rights of peoples and the principle of common interests. I'd like also to thank the Russian-Egyptian organization of this meeting here on the legendary banks of the Nile. This is a great opportunity to express the strong commitment to the goals that we had set, and to conduct a dialogue and build on the agreements that we had with His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. The agreements between Africa and Russia stress the importance of multidimensional cooperation between peoples and lend credence to the goal of creating a common global order that is away from selfishness and narrow designs. And also, we are witnessing new developments on the international arena because of forces that are refraining from cooperating with Africa. Africa is a continent that has been through lots of harm and affronts, and one of the worst practices in the history of humanity have been inflicted on Africa. We completely support the mechanism of cooperation between Russia and the African continent. And I'd like to express our gratitude to the Russian Federation for its engagement to guarantee the independence of our continent, and for their efforts to provide high-quality education for the peoples of our nation. Less than 10 days ago, 250 young people that have gone on scholarships to Russia, which is titled the 80th anniversary, the class of the 80th anniversary of the Great Victory. There are lots of false narratives being repeated on social media by some unofficial bodies, and I would be remiss were I not to mention the project to establish a pipeline to transport the oil derivatives from the Gulf of Guinea to other countries. This is an unprecedented project in the region, and would like to extend our deepest thanks to President Putin for the Russian support to this project. This is a project that we have been very focused on, and therefore my country aligns itself and fully endorses the common initiatives for the exchange of benefits and common interests that will be adopted throughout this meeting. Thank you for listening. Thank you very much to Mr. Jean-Claude, and I give the floor now to the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Guinea-Bissau. The floor is yours. Thank you very much. to Your Excellency, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Egypt and Minister Sergei Lavrov of the Russian Federation. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to participate in this second ministerial meeting, conference on the Russia-African partnership being held here in the great city of Cairo. And we extend our deepest thanks and gratitude to the Arab Republic of Egypt for the great hospitality and the excellent organization of this conference. We also extend our thanks to the Russian Federation for its support of this partnership. Equatorial Guinea is participating with unwavering determination and commitment to this partnership. We have expressed our determination to cooperate on all economic and political issues while fully respecting the sovereignty and self-determination of all African nations. We must always seek to achieve our goals while keeping in consideration the impacts of global conflicts and while maintaining the sovereignty of our peoples and providing the resources required for the vital projects in the African continent. Cooperation in the areas of education, security, defense, agriculture, infrastructure is crucial, and all of these areas are possible areas of cooperation between Africa and Russia, where we should all work together to fulfill our aspirations. Africa will remain a mainstay for peace and stability in the region. And we have a common view towards the ways to achieve this stability with Russia. And this is not merely wishful thinking, but it is a reality manifested in our international partnerships and alliances. The cooperation between Russia and Africa is increasingly important, and it remains a cornerstone of our efforts at the global arena. Ladies and gentlemen, Equatorial Guinea, as it has always stated, is fully prepared to cooperate and can host the next Russia-Africa summit in 2026. And we extend our thanks and gratitude to the Russian Federation and to the African nations. And we look forward to hosting this summit in Equatorial Guinea. In 2026, we are prepared to organize this summit, not only to have the honor of hosting it, but to strengthen cooperation on all of these areas and to strengthen all of these areas of cooperation between Russia and Africa to achieve development. We are confident that all the participating countries have the same vision as ours and will support us in all of the areas that benefit the African continent. As we witness the increasing conflicts at the global level, we need partners that are committed to action, not merely words, and therefore we consider Russia to be a main partner that meets these aspirations, and this will be a main factor in the advancement on the continent. We are seeking to advance in the areas of renewable energies, which is a main part of the African agenda. We also cooperate in the areas of pesticides, fertilizers, food security, education, the empowerment of youth, exchange of experiences and scholarships, maritime security, regional security, the horizons of cooperation between Equatorial Guinea and the other African nations and Russia are broad, and we can also continue to advance industry in the African continent. That must be a driving force that pushes the continent forward. This meeting in Cairo is a milestone in the path of relations between Russia and Africa, and it can help meet our aspirations to advance manufacturing while maintaining the sovereignty of our nations. And we wish that we can have a common future with stronger Russian-African cooperation, and where we can have a partnership that is based in mutual respect and cooperation. Thank you.
Благодарю вас и прошу выступить министра иностранных.
Thank you so much. And now let's give the floor to His Excellency, the Foreign Minister in Gambia, Celine Madou AG.
Thank you. Thank you. Your Excellency, Dr. Badr Abdulati, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Immigration and Expatriates of the Arab Republic of Egypt. Your Excellency, Mr. Sergei Lavrov, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation, Excellencies, Ministers, and Heads of Delegations, African Union Chair, President of the ECOWAS Commission, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. I have the honor to address this forum on behalf of the government and the people of the Republic of the Gambia. I extend sincere appreciation to the government of the Arab Republic of Egypt for the warm hospitality and to the Russian Federation for convening this timely and important forum. The theme of this second Russia-Africa Ministerial Partnership Forum, Trade, Economic and Investment, speaks directly to the urgent task before us: building resilience, diversified economies capable of withstanding global shocks, geopolitical uncertainties, climate stress, and supply chain disruption. For small and vulnerable states such as the Gambia, effective and strategic partnership are not optional, they are essential. Excellencies, Africa approaches this forum with clarity of purpose, guided by the Agenda 2063 and the operationalization of the African Continental Free Trade Area. Our expectation is clear. Partnership must strengthen value addition on the continent, expand productive capacity, support industrialization, and enhances Africa's competitiveness in the global economy. Within this continental framework, the Gambia's priorities are anchored in our recovery-focused National Development Plan 2023-2028. We see particular opportunities for cooperation in few strategic areas. First, agriculture and food security remain central to our national resilience. We welcome partnership in irrigation, climate-smart agriculture, mechanization, agro-processing, storage, and fertilizer security to boost productivity and strengthen food systems. Second, energy development is critical. Affordable and reliable energy underpins industrialization and private sector growth. Cooperation in renewable energy, power generation, grid modernization, and off-grid solutions will be transformative for our economy. Third, trade facilitation and industrialization are essential as Africa advances the AFCFTA. Support for standard and certification, logistics, cold chain infrastructure, fisheries development, agro-processing, light manufacturing, and SMEs growth will help diversify our economy and create jobs for our youthful population. And fourth, human capital and digital transformations are key to our future. We welcome collaboration in STEM education, TVET, digital skills and innovation, cybersecurity, and digital governance to support our transition to a knowledge-based economy. In all these areas, sustainability must guide our cooperation with emphasis on technology transfer, skill development, climate resilience, youth empowerment, and alignment with Africa's regional value chain. Excellencies, allow me to also inform this distinguished forum that the Gambia will host the 10th OIC Ministerial Conference on Agriculture and Food Security in Banjul in the first quarter of 2026. The dates will be communicated in due course, and I take this opportunity to extend a warm invitation to all participating countries and partners to attend and engage in advancing collective solutions to food security and challenges. In conclusion, Africa does not seek partnership of dependency, but partnership of impact, partnership that empowers, build capacities, and deliver tangible results. The Gambia stands ready to work with all partners to translate commitments into concrete projects that drives inclusive growth and strengthen trade and advance sustainable development. I thank you.
Благодарю вас и предоставляю слово министру международных отношений и торговли Республики Намибия госпоже Сельме Ашип.
And now let's give the floor to Namibia.
Your Excellency, Dr. Abdelatif, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Arab Republic of Egypt, Your Excellency Sergei Lavrov, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation, Honorable Ministers. In about 4 days, many of us here will be celebrating Christmas, a very important family festive season. Notwithstanding, we are here in Cairo in very good numbers, attending the Russia-Africa Partnership Forum, a platform that is not only profoundly significant to the deepening of relations between the Russian Federation and Africa, but also for bringing about a more inclusive, fair, and transparent multipolar world order. Yesterday evening, we were treated to a magnificent cultural performances, and while meant to provide a lighter moment, we took away a deeper message, a message of what is possible between and among people through genuine cooperation and partnership in creating a better world. As envisaged in the AU Agenda 2063 and the Russia-Africa Partnership Forum Action Plan 2023-2026. As it has been reiterated, Russia has been a long-standing friend of Africa, supported African countries who fought against colonialism and apartheid. On the premise of our tested friendship and trust, we are confident that this ministerial conference will deliver tangible results both in the short and long term. While fully supporting and subscribing to the draft joint statement, allow me to make a few comments on its content. Namibia fully supports the proposed adoption of the UN General Assembly resolution proclaiming an International Day Against Colonialism. Some of the conflict situations on the continent are rooted in colonial legacy. Therefore, peace and conflict resolution cannot be overemphasized. Another major issue I want to refer to is the reform of the United Nations, particularly the long overdue reform of the UN Security Council. Africa's position on this issue, in accordance with the Zuluini Consensus and the Sirte Declaration, is well known and therefore cannot be overemphasized. For Africa's industrialization process to advance, energy is critical. Namibia approved a nuclear industry strategy which is aimed at laying the foundation for nuclear energy development and value addition to our source material. The African Union's Agenda 2063 prioritizes nuclear energy as a key element to Africa's development, with the potential to contribute to the continent's sustained economic growth and energy security. We also welcome the strong emphasis on achieving the goals of the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change and the Paris Agreement, among others, through financial support and technology transfer to Africa. Equally, it is important that we continue to make efforts to combat desertification, land degradation, and drought. We can do this as a collective by implementing the Windhoek Declaration, which was adopted during the COP11 in 2013 in Windhoek. In this regard, I wish to reiterate that Namibia stands ready to continue working with the Russian Federation and fellow African Union member states to further strengthen our cooperation and enhance implementation mechanisms to ensure that what we have discussed and agreed on here is implemented accordingly and effectively. In conclusion, let me express our deepest gratitude to the government and people of the Arab Republic of Egypt for the warm welcome and the hospitality extended to all of us, and I thank you very much.
شكرا جزيلا.
Thank you very much to my dear sister, the Honorable Minister, and I now give the floor to His Excellency Minister Tahir Al-Baour, the Acting Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation in the kindred state of Libya. You have the floor, sir. In the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate, peace and blessings be on the Prophet, his kin and kith, Your Excellency Dr. Badr Abdel Ati of the Arab Republic of Egypt, Your Excellency Mr. Sergei Lavrov, Foreign Minister of the Russian Federation, Your Excellency Titi Antonio, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Angola, Honorable Ministers, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, allow me to thank the Arab Republic of Egypt for the excellent organization and the great hospitality hospitality that we have seen since our arrival in Egypt. Allow me also to thank His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi of the Arab Republic of Egypt, who received us this morning and discussed with us and had clear and honest words and remarks reflecting the situation in the African continent. We discussed what should be done to guarantee the development of the peoples of the continent and to guarantee development and prosperity for the peoples of the African continent. So we give our due salutations to His Excellency President al-Sisi. Ladies and gentlemen, our meeting today is a continuation of the deep diplomatic relations between the African nations and the Russian Federation, which these relations are based on common interests and have witnessed a number of positive developments and positive coordination at the bilateral and multilateral level. This reflects the awareness of the importance of common action in the justice-based global order, which is free from double standards and marginalization. As we start the second year in the 2063 plan, Africa seeks to activate and expand the participation of the African citizens, which requires partnerships at the bilateral and at the multilateral and bilateral levels, including with the Russian Federation, contributing to the transfer of technology in areas of alternative sources of energy and green economy, and finding resources that would contribute to sustainable development of the continent, accelerating the projects of clean energy and transformative technology will contribute to addressing the challenges of the world, like the food crises, the inflation, and other challenges to peace and security. Ladies and gentlemen, supporting Africa in its path towards advancement does not only benefit Africa but benefits the entire world and paves the way towards an era of fairness and ends decades of exploitation and injustice. Africa has been afflicted by many forms of historical injustice and is working with the international community to redress these injustices with the assistance of the Russian Federation as a permanent member of the United Nations Security Council, and we rely on the Russian Federation to support our call for a fair representation of Africa in the United Nations Security Council. As member in the Committee of 10 of the AU's African Union, my country reaffirms its commitment towards this quest for a peaceful, a fair representation of the African continent and a permanent seat in the Security Council for the African continent. And the African continent and my country views that compensations for the historical injustice is also a much needed endeavor that we are working for, and we hope that we can continue to work with in a framework of mutual understanding and respect. And we align ourselves with the outcomes of this conference, and we hope that our next meetings, God willing, would be meetings where we take stock of the fruits of this partnership. Thank you. Thank you. I thank the Acting Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation in Libya, Mr. Taher. And I now give the floor to Dr. George Bonda, Minister of Foreign Affairs in Malawi.
Thank you. Your Excellency Dr. Badri Abdul, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Immigration and Expatriates Affairs of the Arab Republic of Egypt, Your Excellency Sergio Lavrov, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation, distinguished honorable ministers present, ladies and gentlemen. I bring warm greetings from His Excellency Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika, President of the Republic of Malawi, and from the people of Malawi. Allow me at the outset to express Malawi's sincere appreciation to the government and people of the Arab Republic of Egypt for facilitating this conference with the Russian Federation, and for the excellent organization of this ministerial conference, and for the warm hospitality extended to our delegation. We are privileged to meet in Cairo, a city of profound historical and cultural significance, which has for centuries stood as a center of civilization, learning, and diplomacy, and which continue to play an important role in advancing dialogue and cooperation across Africa and beyond. Your Excellencies, Malawi attaches great importance to the Russia-Africa Partnership Forum Action Plan 2023 to 2026, which serves as the principal implementation framework guiding cooperation under the forum. The action plan provides structure, continuity, and practical direction to our collective engagement between summits and ministerial conferences, and remains an important reference point for translating political commitments into concrete cooperation. Malawi particularly values the alignment of the action plan with Africa's continental development priorities articulated in Agenda 2063, as well as with Malawi's own national development blueprint, Malawi's Vision 2063. This coherence helps to ensure that cooperation under the Russia-Africa Partnership supports inclusive growth, industrialization, human capital development, and economic resilience, and provides the practical foundation for deepening mutually beneficial cooperation between Africa and the Russian Federation. It is for this reason that Malawi greatly values participation in this conference, as it provides a timely platform to engage directly with the Russian Federation and like-minded African countries on specific investment priorities, as well as to align and advance cooperation in key sectors such as energy, agriculture, mining, and health, with a clear focus on implementation and results. Your Excellencies, in Malawi we have facing a combination of critical challenges as well as emerging opportunities. Energy and fuel security, in particular, remain critical to Malawi economic stability. Reliable access to fuel is essential for transportation, agriculture, manufacturing, and service delivery. Malawi, therefore, exploring practical means of improving the reliability and efficiency of fuel supply system, including storage and related infrastructure, with the objective of ensuring with the objective of easing pressure on foreign exchange and supporting sustained economic activity. Food security is another central priority. As an agriculture-dependent economy, Malawi remains vulnerable to climate variability, input supply constraints, and limited value addition. Addressing these challenges requires improving access to fertilizers and other agriculture inputs, promoting mechanization, and expanding agro-processing capacity. Such efforts are essential not only for stabilizing food production and enhancing productivity, but also for strengthening rural livelihood and reducing import dependence. In the mining sector, Malawi is seeking to harness its mineral resources more strategically. The government is currently pursuing a deliberate shift away from the export of raw minerals towards domestic value addition in order to maximize economic returns and job creation. This approach places emphasis on mineral processing, downstream industries, and the development of technical and vocational skills as part of a broader industrialization agenda. The health sector also remains a primary area. Malawi focuses on improving the availability and reliability of essential medicines and medical supplies, which are critical to effective service delivery. Strengthening pharmaceutical supply chains, expanding diagnostic capacity, improving access to modern medical equipment, and investing in the training of medical personnel, particularly doctors and nurses, are key elements of efforts to build a more resilient and responsive health system. Taken together, these challenges underscore the urgency of targeted investment, structural transformation, and intervention that enhance productivity. It is against this background that Malawi approaches cooperation under the Russia-Africa Partnership Forum in a practical and results-oriented manner, focusing on partnerships that combine investment, technologies transfers, skills development, and institutional capacity building to deliver measurable outcomes. I also want to assure Your Excellencies that Malawi, fondly known as the warm heart of Africa, is open for business. The new government is creating conducive policy and regulatory environment to support investment and mutually beneficial partnership. In this respect, Malawi welcomes increased investment from the Russian Federation, particularly on projects that contribute not only to Malawi's national development, but also to broader regional and continental development objectives. In conclusion, Your Excellencies, my delegations remains committed to constructive engagement under the Russia-Africa Partnership Forum and to cooperation that is focused on implementation and tangible results. We therefore look forward to partnership that translate our shared discussion today with existing implementation framework into concrete outcomes that directly improve the lives of our people. I thank you.
شكرا جزيلا أخي العزيز.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, Foreign Minister of Malawi. And now, allow me to give the floor to the last speaker in this first session before we have the lunch break. And then we will be back to resume the interventions of the dear ministers and heads of delegations. And now I'd like to give the floor to His Excellency Olivier Nduhungirehe, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Cooperation in Rwanda. The floor is yours.
Your Excellencies, dear Dr. Badr and dear Sergei, colleague ministers, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is an honor to speak at the Second Ministerial Conference of the Russia-Africa Partnership Forum. I sincerely thank the government and the people of the Arab Republic of Egypt for hosting this conference in Cairo and for the warm welcome extended to me and to my delegation. I also express my deepest appreciation to the government of the Russian Federation, and in particular to His Excellency Sergei Lavrov, Minister of Foreign Affairs, for convening this meeting and for Russia's continued engagement with Africa. This conference builds on strong foundations laid at the First Ministerial Conference in Sochi last year in November, and at the second Russia-Africa Summit held in St. Petersburg in July 2023. This meeting is important as it will allow us to reassess the progress made and to prepare the 2026-2029 action plan that will guide our cooperation in the coming years. I value Russia's commitment to maintaining a regular and structured dialogue with African countries through this forum. I would also like to reaffirm Rwanda's firm commitment to strengthening its partnership with the Russian Federation. Russia is a long-standing partner that respects sovereignty, non-interference, and equality among states. It is also a reliable partner of African countries in the UN Security Council. These principles are essential for building trust and for ensuring balanced and sustainable cooperation. My delegation welcomes Russia's clear focus on economic cooperation, trade, and investment with Africa. We believe that Russia can play an important role in supporting Africa's development ambition, especially in sectors such as energy, agriculture, critical minerals, infrastructure, industrialization, digital technologies, health, and science. We also encourage stronger engagement between Russia and African regional frameworks, including the African Continental Free Trade Area. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, peace and security and stability are essential for development. We note that one of the flagship projects of Agenda 2063, silencing the guns, is yet to be a reality, and we also observe the rise of coups on our continent. In this regard, it is important for us, African countries, and for the African Union to reflect on the root causes of those conflicts in order to provide a sustainable solution to the situation. We also, in this regard, appreciate Russia's engagement in supporting Africa-led peace and security initiatives. As for Rwanda, we continue to actively participate to peace efforts in Africa, as demonstrated by our contributions to peacekeeping and bilateral missions, mainly in South Sudan, in Mozambique, and Central Africa Republic. We also believe that stronger cooperation with the Russian Federation in counterterrorism, peace building, and security and capacity building will further enhance stability on the continent. At the multilateral level, we of course value Russia's consistent support for a more just and representative international system. We reiterate our support to the UN reform, including the UN Security Council reform, in line with the Zolwini Consensus and the Syria Declaration, to give Africa a stronger voice in global decision-making. Excellencies, Rwanda welcomes practical measures that facilitate closer ties between the Russian people and African peoples, also between African peoples themselves. The visa waiver agreement for holders of diplomatic and service passport that we sign with the Russian Federation, but also with Egypt, is a positive step. We remain open and accessible, and we continue as Rwanda to grant visa-free entry to all African citizens in support to mobility, trade, and cooperation. Unimpeded mobility of Africans on our continent should be a foundation of the Africa we want. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, to conclude, Rwanda believes that the strength of the Russia-Africa partnership lies in action and delivery. We must ensure that our commitments lead to visible and measurable results for our people. Rwanda remains fully committed to working closely with the Russian Federation to further strengthen our bilateral cooperation and to contribute to a long, strong and effective Russia-Africa partnership. I'm confident that under Russia's continued engagement and leadership, the Russia-Africa Partnership Forum will contribute to a more prosperous, secure, and stable Africa. With this, I support the Cairo Declaration, and I thank you for your kind attention.
شكرا جزيلا معالي
Thank you so much, Your Excellency Minister Olivier, the Foreign Minister of Rwanda. And now allow me, with His Excellency Minister Sergei Lavrov,